All right. So welcome to Barcode and QR code scanning in Xamarin. My name's Auri Rahimzadeh. I'm the Director of Software Engineering at Klipsch. We're actually not going to talk about anything Klipsch does today, but we make high-end speakers, earphones, powered monitors, lots of great stuff. Maybe you've heard of us. It'd be great. So I've been doing Xamarin development for a while now. Big fan. Been writing mobile apps since the early days, like even on a Newton. So if you remember that thing, I'm gonna have to make sure I let people in as I go through this. Um, so I am going to speak about some of this in the context of the COVID app that I wrote for the city of Fishers. So this is, gosh, I'm thinking back. May of 2020, when testing was starting to become a thing in the United States, I was hit up. Hey, do you know anyone who could build a mobile app, or build something that would allow us to scan in all of our patients or the people who need to be tested, and aggregate all that data? And there were a couple different. Well, there was already an option that the state was using where they used full-blown laptops with handheld scanners, required power, required a printer to be there. It was a pretty complex system, and I was, we're really kind of an innovative city, so I'm like, well, hold up a sec. If you have an iPhone or an Android device, they all have cameras that can scan barcodes. So why don't we just do a barcode and use the camera on the phone, and then we just have a mobile app and just that's it. Why have this really big complex rig? Let's just build just a one screen app that scans in the patient, scans in the test kit, marries the two together, and we did all that through Azure Storage, and done. And so it ended up being super cool. Like the existing system across the state would take about 20 minutes to put someone through the testing process. We could do it in under 5. So it was pretty amazing. And this was all a Xamarin app. We built iOS, Android, and UWP versions of it. Of course, you get those almost free, when you build a Xamarin app. I'm not going to get into all the detail of building the COVID app. You can just go to my blog and find the article, and there's a previous Indy Xamarin presentation about it. But I am going to go through some of that code while we talk about barcodes. I'm just talking about a practical use of barcodes, QR codes, etc. Your mileage may vary, but yeah, this is one way that it was used. So what is a barcode? I mean, we've seen barcodes everywhere. I mean, every time if you're under, gosh, I don't know, under, oh, gosh, if you're under 50 years old, thereabouts, you've lived with them practically your entire life in the mainstream, and even up to 70 years old, you may have heard of them. So get this, I was looking at the history of barcodes. I had no idea. They're patented in 1951 by these two guys, Norman Joseph Woodland and Bernard Silver. But the original barcodes were circular, so you can kind of see that. You kind of see that here. They were circular. It's fascinating, and it was based on Morse code and extending it to thick and thin bars. So this right here didn't come out till 74. And I love this Mad Magazine cover. Hope this issue jams every computer in the country. I'm not sure what what year that's from, but I kind of want to get a copy of it. It's just funny. I wonder if this means July 9th, 1989, maybe. Not sure. No, it says 1976. There it is. It says it right there. April something. But anyway, I would like to get a copy of that issue. It's pretty cool. This may very well be the Code 39 format. We'll get into that too. So the vertical bars that you're used to today actually they were designed by George Laurer. So eventually we got to the barcodes that you're used to, but it did not start out that way. But prior to it becoming popular at night, grocery stores, which is what was the killer app of the time for barcodes, it was used in train systems to identify trains going into shipyards and train yards, etc. So it was used in the transportation industry relatively heavily. Up until really recently, they've all been what's called 1D, one-dimensional barcodes. Basically, you've got a line or, basically a line going in a direction, and then you scan it and you get some ASCII representation. But, there are 2D codes now, such as the QR code. And I imagine maybe in the future we'll have 3D codes. But, those will probably be called something else. Probably won't be called a barcode. So there's a ton of different types of barcodes. We are not going to go into all the differences. For the most part, it's a formatting thing. So how the data is presented and the rules and restrictions for how you create them. I'm, like I said, not going to go into all the rules. We're going to deal primarily with Code 39. And I think we also used, it was Code 128, I think, on another one. But I'll get into that in a moment. But here you've got data matrix Code 39, which is super popular, Code 128. You can see that list, and of course, QR codes. You can look all of these up online. So if you want to generate a barcode, it used to be very expensive. Like you used to have to buy fonts. And I remember many, many years ago, I don't remember. I wrote some application um, that needed to put a barcode on a screen, and I think I had to print them too. I remember the font. And I had to read them, and I had to send the scanned data to a server in order to read it and parse it and then send the data back. And I think it cost around $1,000 at the time. It was like stupid expensive. I didn't know enough about uh, how everything worked to write my own thing, and it was super expensive. But fast forward 20, 30 years, and it's like everything's free. So now if you want to go and print out barcodes, you can go download a number of the fonts for nothing. The one we used in this case was Code 39, and we just download the font. So when we were doing the COVID app, let me see if I can show it. I can find the image for you. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Nope, nope, nope. That's not it. Where's my COVID? My COVID app. Boop, boop, boop. Hey, there we go. Building COVID patient scanning app in 24 hours. Um, so we ended up, so as we looked at using Code 39, we ended up building, we had these, let me find it. Where's the QR code? So we had IDs for each test and each patient. And we used the free font to just generate just generate labels in Excel that then could be printed out onto Auri, just, stickers. So, we'd print out, I don't know, 1,000 or so at a time, just enough for a day or two. And then whenever you had a patient, you would assign, you would have that sticker for the patient, and then for the test, you'd have a separate one for a separate sticker for the test, and then you scanned each one, you put it into the app. So here you scanned a patient, and then you scanned a kit, and then uh, hitting finish check-in would marry those two things together. And the cool thing about it is by printing all the labels ahead of time, we never ran into a printer issue during the day. So as every time somebody came in to get swabbed, um, they would uh, have no technical issues because the app was solid. I think if I look at the telemetry, the number of crashes we've had in the past year is probably under 20. And there's hundreds of tests administered a day across 3 different sites. So it's insanely solid. But the cool, there's things that are non-technical, and one of the non-technical things that you need to address, or non-programming things that you need to address, is the technical setup, which is, will the scanner fail? Will the app fail? Will the device hosting the app fail? And will any ancillary items like a label maker fail? So we took all those issues out of the picture by great testing of the app, but also pre-printing all the stickers so you don't have to worry about running out of ink in the middle of the day. So you can also generate barcodes online. I can show you right here. Like this is a Code39 generator. Um, you just say generate barcode and it generates it. One thing about Code39 this got us is you have to use these asterisks on each side. Otherwise, it won't get read. Oops. You learn about that relatively quickly. You wonder, why is none of my stuff working? Everything printed out okay. But yeah, these asterisks are a thing. I'll get into that. Uh, and then if you want to generate barcodes inside of your Xamarin app, you don't even have to use a custom font. You can just get the free Syncfusion barcode NuGet package, and it'll take care of it for you. It supports a whole bunch of different formats, including QRCode, and yeah, you can just go download that for free. So it's, well, quote unquote free, meaning if you make more than $1 million with your app, you have to pay for it. But if you're making more than $1 million or more with your app, I imagine you would be happy to pay the like $799 for the Xamarin toolkit from Syncfusion. So if you haven't used Syncfusion before, it's really a cool system. They've got a ton of great documentation online. Their support is top notch, and I haven't paid a dime for it. And I just love what they're doing. They've just been very cool, even providing code samples. That they're pretty great. Um, so if you are going to use fonts, uh, make sure that you read the rules of the format. So just getting the font doesn't include any of the business rules around using that particular format. So make sure that you read about it. This, like I was saying before, Code39 required an asterisk at the beginning and the end. Otherwise, the barcode readers would not read it. That was quite annoying. It was a little bit of work to figure out why is nothing working, and then we figured it out. So um, the devil is in the details. This technology has been around for a long time, which means it's been standardized in multiple ways, and there's multiple formats. So get educated. Don't just start and deploy. So if you want to get started reading barcodes, in Xamarin, it's insanely easy. Give me one moment. My nose is running. There may be multiple libraries out there for scanning barcodes, but really there's only one super popular one, and that's zebra crossing. So it looks like ZXing, but it's really zebra crossing. And as I recall, is originally from Google. I've used zebra crossing back in the old Android days, like when I was building native Android apps with Java. Um, Super simple to install zebra crossing, and it's free. It's Apache 2.0, so you're not going to have to go give your code back. Um, so just go grab those two NuGet packages, zebracrossing.net.mobile, and of course the .forms version of it. So if you're not using Xamarin.Forms, that does not mean you can't use zebra crossing, but title of this discussion is the Xamarin.Forms. So we're going to cover the forms approach. If you're not using Xamarin.Forms, if you're not aware, you can actually instantiate views and such with Xamarin.Forms inside of a standard Xamarin project, just so Xamarin iOS, Xamarin Android, and surface those as a view controller or a view, depending on if you're an iOS or an Android. So you can go the other way. We've been able to do that for a few years now. But if you were not aware, you don't have to suddenly change your app to use Xamarin.Forms if you're not already doing so. Zebra Crossing works with Android, iOS, macOS, UWP, and Tizen. I left that out here, but it also works on Tizen. Now, as with almost anything mobile development, permissions are insanely important. So zebra crossing will not work if you do not have the camera permission. So make sure that you're getting that granted. Xamarin Essentials makes that super duper simple. If you're not sure how to do that, I can show you what that code looks like. But it's so easy that you should be able to just install Xamarin Essentials and move forward. I think that's actually it's Xamarin Essentials is installed by default with the new templates in the latest versions of 2019 and of course 2022. And in Maui, it's effectively built in. Now on Android, iOS, macOS, and UWP, you will have to run some init code. It's a one-liner. Let me get into that for you real quick. I'll just show you the app. Let me find my app here. I have so many windows open. Oh, there's Fisher's tests. There we go. So if you take a look here on Android, I'll just give you an example. So here's my main project, my Xamarin.Forms project. I'm not using the shared model. I'm using the separate project model. You just install the packages, super simple. There's zebracrossing.mobile.forms. And then, of course, I'm using Xamarin Essentials. I have a few other things in here that really have nothing to do with what we're going to talk about. But if you have any questions about these, let me know. Yay, Syncfusion. And then in Fisher's Test Android, and I did the same thing in iOS and UWP, you'll see zebracrossing.net.mobile, zebracrossing.net.mobile.forms. Then in main activity, super simple, zebracrossing.net.mobile.forms.android.platform.init. That's all you got to do. I don't know how you usually handle your stuff. I usually break out all my initialization into separate functions so I understand what I'm initializing. Otherwise, you get these huge on creates or the on-finish loading and app delegate on iOS. It's just so much easier to read. So just opinion. Same thing for iOS. It's very similar. App delegate, which is where everything usually is. And then configure barcode scanning. It's effectively identical. We just changed iOS or Android to iOS. And hopefully everyone can see this. So if you can't read this for whatever reason, let me know. I can make the screen a little bigger or the font size a little bigger. Now, there, as with anything cross-platform, there are sometimes gotchas when it comes to how you have to implement certain things. So on Android, you may need to require, you may need to get the result back on the UI thread. Oop, did I get a chat message? No, okay. I thought. So just heads up on that. Let me see if I can find that. Sure. I mean, here we go. Try and find it for you. Main, there it is. Begin invoke on main thread. There we go. So whenever I got a result back, I'll walk you through this, but yeah, device.begin invoke on main thread. That can be important. We'll get into it though. So let's go through a simple example. So all you've done is you've installed the zebra crossing packages. You've created a base XAML page, or you've used code first, and you just want to scan a barcode. So what would that look like? I have not had to do this. I have not had that issue, but your mileage may vary. Maybe it's an issue with the latest version, but I have not had that issue. But basically, you just new up a mobile barcode scanner instance, and then you scan and get the result. And what that will do is that will pop up a scanning interface that looks like almost every scanning interface you've ever had, which is it just brings up a camera and a line in the middle, and it goes beep whenever it finds something to scan. Now, this uses all the default options. Now, that can be a bad thing, so you want to be careful about that. What are you going to scan? Ask yourself, what am I going to scan? We'll get into how you customize that in a little bit. But this could scan anything. It could be a QR code. It could be a Bar39. It could be a code, or probably a code 39, a code 128. It could be a number of things. It might not be what you were trying to scan in the first place. It might not follow the formatting rules that you're trying. So this is great for getting started, but I suggest that you look at the options that are available to you. It's all on GitHub. The documentation's pretty easily accessible. Begin understanding and hone in on what you're trying to scan. So this is a little bit fraught with peril, meaning there's really no checks here. You're just getting data. So this is fun to start playing with, but probably not a good end result. So let's do a more advanced reading example. So this is really most of the work that I had to do inside of the COVID scanning app. So first, I had a scanning, a scan a kit option. So I had scan kit and scan patient. So for the kit, we use barcode format Code39. I think I said we used 128 for the other one. Let me look at what I had. Code bar 39 is, yeah. So for the patient, we had a QR code. So there we go. So for the patient, it was a QR code, and for the test kit label, it was a code 39. So you basically have a customer drive up in their car, and they've got a QR code and email that they received because they had they filled out a survey that let them determine what time they wanted to come in for a test, and they would just put that up to the window. But sometimes they would print it out. So what you don't want to do is have a lab technician wearing their their N95 mask with in their bunny suit, fumbling with paper, try and make sure that they scan the right code. That is difficult. So by setting this particular rule, code 39, when scanning the kit, so like the test kit, the scanner will pop up, but then it will not return a result until it finds a code 39 formatted barcode. So that's super important, and that's why we have a practically 100% scan success rate. Then it's as simple as we just create a new instance of the zebra crossing scanner page, wire up the event handler, and then we just use navigation, push async, and pass in a scanning page. That's it. That's all we had to do. Then when the kit is scanned, we come over here to the kit scan result, and we say allowed barcode formats is code 39, and then we call on scan kit complete. We pass in is null or white space result.text, and then we pass in, I just do an additional check here. This is probably totally unnecessary. The barcode format. So I just do a double check here. It's probably not necessary given this, but I'm paranoid about this stuff because it's not going to hurt me to do a 1 millisecond verification. So we'll be good. It might not be 1 millisecond. It might be 15 milliseconds, whatever. Then we do on scan kit completed. Then we're basically done with the scanning process at this point. I've received the kit ID data, and I just make sure everything's valid. That's it. I mean, really, the scanning is done at this point. So what we've done now is we've fully implemented barcode scanning, which in and of itself is really not a difficult process. You just have to be purposeful about it. And then, you're just getting data. So it's data in a particular format, and that's pretty much it. Now, like I said, there are a lot more settings that you can set here, but it's all about the scanning or how you present it. So you can customize this. Zebra crossings quite customizable. And I think, Dave, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but in a moment we can. One is you can do custom overlays. There is a gotcha there that if you do custom overlays, it's not the difficulty of a custom renderer, but you will have to do platform specific views. So in iOS, you'll have to do a UI view. In Android, you'll have to do a view. In UWP, I think you have to do a content page. I don't know what it is in Tizen. I'm not familiar enough with Tizen to say. So if you do want to customize the look and feel of everything, you can do it that way. You can also do what I believe Dave, who's also on this call, has done, and put the barcode scanner inside of an existing XAML page, and they have a fragment that you can use, and you just use it like a regular tag, a zebra crossing tag. So that uses the barcode scanning engine. So you don't have to use that zebra crossing page that I used, or the mobile barcode scanner. You don't need to use an instance of that. You can just use the barcode scanning engine. A few gotchas. One is you have to tell it when to start scanning. So you got to call start scanning, and basically handle the pipeline yourself, which is fine. I mean, it didn't look that complex. I had no need to do it, but it's not rocket science. At least it didn't look like it was. And you can make this as simple or as complex as you'd like. And this is open source, so if it doesn't work the way you want, you can change it. You can make your own fork of things if you decide to come up with your own barcode format. Nothing stops you from using zebra crossing to do that work. You could just use zebra crossing as the base, and then maybe modify it to work with your particular format. Nothing stopping you there. This last bullet may be old advice, but it's on the zebra crossing getting started page. Let me see if I can show you that real quick. That's right here. So you can kind of see the details. And this is zebra crossing. There's a the zebracrossing.net. Let me see if I can find that. Was it? There. This is the zebracrossing.net mobile. And you'll see it just walks you through how to use it. Samples. Pretty cool stuff. So, definitely mess around there. Oop, someone's trying to get in. Hey, Dave, did you want to talk about what you did?
The only thing I did, so the shop floor users, I wanted to keep it all lined, so they would hit the button to scan it and show the results on the same page, along with some verifications. The one thing that I haven't figured out yet was how to zoom, because some of our racks are 20 feet up in the air, and when the camera shows it, the zebra crossing doesn't seem to understand what I'm trying to scan 20 feet away.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'm wondering if you could add camera control there, or add the ability to add a photo and then have zebra crossing process the photo, because I think it does have the ability to process a photo. I'm not 100% sure, but
That's a good idea. I can try that next. The code I saw said that you had to essentially use the native code from Android or iOS and reference the camera and tell it to zoom. But zooming is just changing what is displayed, because
yeah, that doesn't
the
help.
picture's still the picture. You're just seeing a smaller section of the picture.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm wondering if you just have to, in that case, scan in uh, from a photo, but
Yeah.
and Syncfusion might actually have a tool for that as well. I'll get into that in a moment. So this is what I was talking about earlier that Dave did. He was able to put the scanner view right inside of the XAML, so you can kind of see right there how that was added in. And then, of course, just wiring up the scanning process. Yeah. And there's your view model. Typical MVVM or probably MVC stuff. So, or MVVM, sorry, MVVM, if you're used to that. I did not do that actually in the Fisher's Tests app. I just coded the events right in there. I didn't want to go through all the process um, of adding that, but I still have a view model behind the scenes. So what I was talking about here with the AV capture session engine is if you want to use iOS's native AV capture session, you can. My understanding is it's format limited based on what was in the zebra crossing uh, GitHub page. But it's up to you what you want to do. I have not seen any performance issues that would cause me to want to switch. I never had an issue, or I haven't heard of any issues where you couldn't submit an app. So I don't think it's a thing you have to do, but just so you know, it is something that you can do. So if you'd like to learn more about this, you can actually just go. If you want to get the free font, just go to Barcodes Inc. They have a free barcode font. Um, it's pretty easy. You can just go grab it and use it any way you like. If you want to generate a barcode in your app, just go get the Syncfusion component, just install it, and wire up the inits, and you're done. Now this one might help you, Dave. I'm not sure, but Syncfusion has this OPX PDF barcode scanner, and its whole purpose is to scan barcodes that are found inside of PDFs. It might also work with images. I don't know. So you might want to check that out. And then if you want to get started with zebra crossing, just go right to the GitHub page. I'm sure that there's plenty of articles about it, but as you can see, even for something that's used for just tens of thousands of tests a year, it was super easy. Like for the barcode side, it was very easy to set up. I will show one other thing in a moment. And then, of course, there's a free Code39 generator for testing, so you can generate them right online. Just go to Barcodes Inc. again. I think they're the people who charged me $1,000 at one point. But they've been in the quote unquote barcode game for a long time. I did mention earlier about permissions. So I just added a function to ensure camera position permissions. It's super simple. I just went over here and said, hey, request permissions.camera, just the camera permission. And if I don't get back that it was granted, I just return, let's say, if I don't get it, I return false. And I tell them, hey, you got to go grant permission. Otherwise, this app won't work. So I find that to be a good pattern. Don't check for permissions everywhere. Just create a function for it that returns true or false. And yeah, pretty simple. One other thing going on here. This has nothing to do with barcode scanning, but just a best practice I have found to use, your mileage may vary, is I always put all the text that I use in a resources file. That way, if I ever need to localize, it's already ready to go. I just localize that file, and then I can use the built-in .NET localization for everything else. If you start with hard coding all your strings, life is going to be unhappy if you need to add localization. Great. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? We've covered a lot, so any questions?
I just have a couple of comments. The QR
Sure.
code.
Yep.
it has a redundancy factor in that 30% of the code can be wiped out. So that's why on QRCode you see images in the center, because it's not needed.
Ah, okay, that's great. I was wondering why they put images in the middle.
Yeah. So, because in our factory, the 2D dimensional barcode, the data matrix, we're switching those over because they get ripped and they need 100%. As soon as they get ripped, you can't scan the barcode anymore.
Ah,
So,
but switching to QR codes has made things better.
yes.
Oh, awesome. That's great to know.
So, it's also funny that it seems to scan it faster. Don't ask me why.
Interesting.
And also going back to 128 barcodes, you definitely need an emulator to do that because that code is compressed. So if you type, ABC, it actually converts to something else for the barcode, and when the emulator converts it back when you scan it, it compresses it. So instead of, because in a 3 of 9 barcode, it can take up too much space. So you switch to the 128, which compresses it, but you have to usually have to pay for the compression factor. So if Syncfusion has that, that's a great option now.
Yeah, so check that out. I will point out, if you want to use the camera, you could just use, if you've got Windows, just use Microsoft's Your Phone, and then you can just control your phone directly from Windows. So you don't even have to, I mean, you'll have to pick it up to do scanning unless you switch to the front camera, and then you just put it right, just leave your phone on your desk and just put the code right up, above the camera, and it should scan it in. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm gonna check to see if there's any chat messages. If there is space, maybe you can make the barcode larger. I'm not sure what you mean, Nate.
I was just talking about Dave's project earlier about his barcodes not being able to scan 20 feet away.
Got it. Great. Any other questions? Hey, what's up, Car?
Maybe I misheard you, but with the COVID app, you said you didn't go the shared code strategy.
Right.
Why'd you choose to do it differently, or why'd you choose to go more platform specific?
Oh no, I didn't go platform specific. What I mean is there's like two ways that you can run a Xamarin app. One is shared code project, where it basically overlays all the code, into each project, and then you have to have all these if statements for everything.
Right.
So the way that I think has been normal for like a couple years now is just use the Xamarin.Forms project and launch a new application instance from the iOS, Android, UWP, etc. So rather than, like Matt said, a shared project versus a .NET Standard library. Because the shared project is a nightmare when things start getting funky, like once things get complex. But that used to be the way you had to do things, because it didn't always work really well if you used a standard class library. And I think that's back in the PCL days, like before we had .NET Standard and .NET Core, those things. You had to use PCL, and it was a nightmare. So sometimes it was easier to use a shared project than a class library due to compatibility reasons. But these days, that's PCL is a thing of the past. Thank heavens.
Right. Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Any other questions? Okay. Well,
Process once you make an app.
what?
Yeah, sorry. I was just asking, is it easy to get an app
Thanks,
onto
Keith.
the App Store?
Is it easy to get an app onto the App Store?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to. I think it's easy to publish it. Um, the first time that you want to do that, or if you've never done it before, I think it's a it's a steep curve, especially on iOS, to get things deployed to the App Store. And that's certainly something I could walk you through offline. It's longer than like it's not just a conversation for like 1 or 2 minutes. But if you want some
Gotcha. Okay.
assistance on that, I'm happy to help. Your key things there are going to be on iOS. It's going to be getting the provisioning profile and the certificate all configured in your Apple developer account, um, and getting your App Store account created. That can take a little bit of time the first time. Everything after like your first push is generally good. It's just the first time you release your app, any app, it's there's uh, some heavy lifting that needs to be done on the iOS side. On the Android side, it's as simple as an APK being a signed APK, and then submitting that to Google Play. The gotchas there are making sure that you don't lose the key store. So you want to make sure that you never lose your key store when you push an Android app, because like, let's say you get a new computer and you didn't keep the old one and the key store was on it. Now you can't sign the packages anymore, and life is crappy. Now Google has fixed that recently, by when you upload a signed APK, you can tell Google to manage your signing key for you, and they will automatically re-sign your app whenever you submit it. So whether you lost the key store or not, but you never want to lose your key store if you can help it. But if you have any questions, just hit me up. I'm happy to help you. Uh, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty easy to find. Or hit me up on LinkedIn's probably the best way to initially reach me. Otherwise, you're gonna have to email me or text me or try finding me on. And I don't really look at my like don't PM me on Twitter or DM me on Twitter. I check that like once every 2 weeks. But
Okay,
yeah,
great.
happy to help. It's not so rough.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Microsoft will take time though. Microsoft's a weird submission process. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you all very much for coming. Please make sure you come to our next presentation. We've got a cool presentation coming up about accessing Azure resources securely from a Microsoft Program Manager and MVP. So super excited about that. And we're lining up a lot of other great presentations for you. As usual, once the recording for this is available, I will post it on the meetup page for the event. I'll say the YouTube link is, or the video is now available, and give you the YouTube link. And I'll try to put in the list of resources, those links in the video description. And if someone needs a copy of the presentation, just let me know. So thank you very much. Be well and be safe.